Well, Bob Mix, I'm from Great Bend, Kansas. I'm 52 in the art business now since 1982. I've had some background with art and stuff through my high school years and that sort of thing, but nothing like what I'm gotten into now. The person that really involved me in getting with this type of art was a guy by the name of Paul Fury. He was in Roosevelt High School in a junior high deal, and I was really influenced by his art when he was making a sculpture of a nail man, and he was one of them medieval guys with the sword and the scabbard and the shield and all that stuff. And what do you call them?
Knights, probably.
Knights. Yeah, knights. And he really influenced me, and I thought, but I didn't really put it to use until quite a few years later. But this thing here is going to Lucas, Kansas. Believe it or not, I'm going to let this thing go. Now this is the way. This is Bob, the original. It's called. At one time, it was called Stepping Down, because I was preaching to a lot of different people and talking to a lot of different people in institutions and hospitals and stuff for recovery, and I got too far-fetched with this idea. So I decided, well, actually I didn't decide. I was going to the bathroom one time to take a shower, and I felt within myself that all I am is a volunteer. So that's when I decided that I should step down out of that area, and I really felt it. And I said, no, I'm stepping down. So it took me about 2 years to do it, and in the process, I felt that my higher power, God, was trying to express himself through this art as me stepping down. And this box is my platform, and the symbol is a recovery symbol that's based on a class of people that known as Narcotics Anonymous. But anyway, I'm not supposed to say that sort of thing, so that's how it represents to me. And I didn't see it until I was in a Young Ward institution for an H&I effort down there, and I seen that I did that, and it about floored me. And the only thing about it, we sold it to David Raines, and he wanted to put it in front of the mosh pit. And of course, the mosh pit is a record place, and it had a record in one hand and a microphone in the other, and that wasn't me. And I let it go because I thought, well, that's what this guy wanted. There was a staff, just this ball and the rod that run down the center that this guy made for me for this statue. But when I sold it to David Raines, I didn't put that on. I said, no, I can't do that because this guy didn't want it for that statue. And I thought, well, somebody would steal it. So we went ahead, and I got it back. Let's see, it's all on here. I got it from Dwayne Chisholm by my son Sean Mix on 2/16/99, and this was made as 3/31 in '96 when I sold it to David Raines. So when I got it back, I decided I'm going to make sure it's mine, and I did some work for this guy, and I gave it to him, and I said, well, does this mean it's mine? And he says, yes, it does. And I said, okay. So then we made this staff, and later on this ball came into existence. I've been praying about this ball for quite a while, and it came into existence, and I said, and then you guys fell into place, and I said, well, everything's going that way, and I said, we're going to make a time bomb out of it. This is supposed to have some stars on it, like a fuse. This, I learned after I made it, that it was an orb, which is this, the ball in the center, and a scepter. And the wizard that owns the orb and scepter is ruler over the orbs. Well, if you take a look at it, there's all kinds of them. I said, if it's me, then I'm not just over one. There's a lot of them that has been swept under the carpet. And I said, there's all kinds of them. And I had them counted at one time, and that's an unbelievable amount. But this was a grassroots. I don't really know how the apple fits in, but I do know it. That's what it was supposed to be. But it looked too much like a bomb, and I said, well, I'm going to turn it into a bomb because things are going to explode. And it's 4 o'clock, September 2nd. 2000. See? And you think I'm kidding about this? Look at this. Here's 4 o'clock, September 2nd, 2000. This is kind of like a time bomb thing. And we actually, see, when the skeleton was made, we had this aluminum tie made for him when the new owner took over down there. There was a change of hands at the mosh pit. And when I said, well, I'm going to dress him up for the new guy. So I tried to really make him look more presentable, and I wore this tie. Well, the thing about it was that if I was to become the skeleton, I should accept myself as the skeleton. So we had a dress-up night one night, and there's a bunch of us that get together to go out for parties and stuff, and we all dress up. But we go to restaurants and stuff that are kind of public, and I put my aluminum tie on. And my grandson said, oh no, Grandpa, you put that back on the skeleton. And I said, no, I gotta wear it to become a part of the skeleton. And so I wore that aluminum tie out in the public. And this one girl come up to me and she says, how can you not love a guy that wears an aluminum tie? This is my wife, Beverly, up here. She loves butterflies, and she's telling me what to do. Now watch this. This is really cool. Can you zoom in? Watch this here. See, my wife's telling me what to do. Okay, honey. Okay, I'll do it. But this is really cool because it came out of First National Bank up there in 10th and up there on Main Street, right across the street from the courthouse. That came out of that. I got it from the packing house down there. It's the only one I could get, and I wanted something special on it, and we decorated it up and made the hat out of it. Now this was already on the skeleton, but it was, when we added the hat, I said, well, it's got to be on there. But that's about all there is to it.
Can you identify some of these parts? What were they in their former life? What did they come off of?
Well, the orb itself came from Acme Iron and Metal, and I walking around out there in the junk, and this thing appeared out of the almost right on it, and I said, well, I want to take that up there and see if I can get it. And the trick to this is it was flat on the bottom, and usually metal will tell you what it's supposed to be. This was flat on the bottom, and if you feel underneath there, you can feel that it's flat.
It is.
Yeah, and my son took it down to the machine shop down there and machined this piece here, the rod, to this piece of brass. And I got the brass for real cheap. And these ball bearings come out of trolley wheels that I got from the packing house down there. And this is a trailer hitch ball that I got out of it. And they're just all kinds of just ball bearings and stuff. And the real trick to doing this piece was not to make it look like either one of two things, which was a bedpost or a lamp for the outside. And I didn't want either one of them. It is kind of oriental, and I took it down to the oriental place down there, and it was just kind of a blow-off thing. They wanted more of the money so we could eat and all that kind of stuff. This ball bearing here was real hard, and when I welded to it, it just shattered. That's why these little rods come into play, so it holds it together. And it was just tacked in a couple of places. So there's nothing real special about it. I wanted to get my son involved in it, which was Chris. And he got these things made for me out of the company that he works for. I think they just come off, they were like tailstock. You know, they run the whole pipe, and when they come to the end, this was left over.
Mm-hmm.
This one here is real special to me. There's two of them. I've been looking for these ball bearings for a long time, and these come off of rotary table ball bearings. And Mr. Joe Kaplan, the owner of Acme Iron and Metal, which is deceased now, he gave me those before he died. And it was a couple of years after he died, but still, those are still in my memory. That's where I got that. And these are the claws off of a digger, like a trencher or something, and you reach out and dig the dirt, break the dirt up. The U-joints, they all come in. And it was really weird because there was just so many of them, and I haven't got that many back in any other time. So I knew that they were supposed to go on there. And the ribs are just wrought iron. Huh?
Were they, I don't know what a U-joint, is
okay.
it just a single one of these is a U-joint?
It's
And then, or
the two of them.
two
The
of
two of them together.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
this is one piece here,
All right,
and this is one piece,
all right,
and right on up.
all
The-
right. But you
but they were
welded those
U-joints.
together,
They're like
or they were all hooked together when you
No,
found them?
they were separated.
Separated. Okay.
Yeah, and then we just put them together. It was pretty extensive because I had to take, like there was a rod in between them. Each one of them, I slid it up to the U-joint itself to keep it from breaking over, you know, and made it a little bit solider, I thought. This is just sucker rod. Let's see, this here piece here, a guy came in, he said, well, I've got something for you to make that hip. And I said, okay, what is it? He said, well, I'll go get it. And he went and got it. And this is it's the blade that goes down through, makes the furrows for the dirt, and it parts it over on both sides. I don't know what they're called.
Well, like for a lister or something
yeah.
like that. Planter?
Yeah, planter or something. And he gave me that. His name was Charles Dresser, and he gave that to me, and I was really, well, we put it on that night, I think. But it's just pieces. The head's kind of, oh, the chain, okay. You want to know about the chain while I'm down here?
Yeah.
We chained him up so he wouldn't get the cats at night. He loves cats. Yeah, we had to
So
chain
we
him up.
need to be worried about this
No,
at
you don't
Lucas.
have to worry about it till midnight or so. The head itself came from, it was real tall. It was about that big. And it came from Western Energy. Western Energy, a friend of mine, which I'm going to take you down after a while, and we'll meet. His name's Dan, but it's a real tough name to remember, and I don't remember his last name. But anyway, he gave it to me because we was dealing with his daughter at the time and helping her out in a lot of different areas. And he really enjoyed that. And so he said, anytime you need any junk iron or anything, Bob, he said, come down and see me. So he went down to Western Energy down there, and he gave me the opportunity to go through his junkyard. And I said, I'm looking for a head. And we stepped around back, and there was this big, tall head. And I said, yeah. I said, I'd like to have that. And he said, what? He said, take it with you, Bob. So I said, okay. So right here in the back here somewhere, it's cut all the way around. But anyway, that's where this came from. This face was already made, gosh, I don't know, a couple of years prior to making this skeleton, like it was just waiting for something to be put on. And the rest of it is just creativity, you know, made. And when, I'm pretty sure I put down here the date I changed it over. No, I didn't. Must have been, no, when we got it back from 2/16/99, that's when we decided to change it, because it wasn't me. And then I said, if it's not me, I'm going to put it up in the yard. So we drug it into the shop over there and tore it all apart. And I liked everything but the way these two hands were. I've still got the two hands. I'm not real sure what I'm going to do with them. My grandson still recognizes the one hand. And this hand here was the other one. I just took it and turned it over, and it had the record on it.
Now, is this hollow inside?
No, it's hollow.
So
What it is a float for a treater or an oil separator or something, you know, that it holds the air, and then it lifts whenever the fluid gets, just like a toilet tank, you know.
Yeah.
When it lifts, it shuts the oil off. But evidently there must have been something wrong with it, because it was discarded. But I've looked for that for a long time.
Perfect.
And the leaves are cut-offs. They're actually just like this. The separation in the two of them. And I made them into leaves. And this is, I don't know how I did that. I don't remember. I made it.
That's wonderful.
See, there was a real battle between this one and the supersonic espresso-powered bug sucker. This was made in '96, and the guy that owned the coffee shop, I don't know if I should I use his name? I've used everybody else.
Sure.
Greg Keenan
Sure.
and his folks, they owned the coffee shop down there, and he wanted me to bring this skeleton down to his place and show it off for the first show. The first show. And I said, boy, that took me for a loop, because he was my best friend, seeing all this good stuff. And so was David Raines, and David Raines paid for this thing, and he said, I want it down in my shop. So I fought with it for a couple of months, and I decided, no, I said, I'm sorry, Greg, we're going down to the golf, or go down to the mosh pit with it. And so we dedicated it down there to the mosh pit, and it was probably dated on like on that date, 3/31/96. It was named Bones on the radio with David Raines at 5/11/96. I don't know the girl's name. I didn't put it on it, but a girl won it. And that started a real rival with. You want to go down here?
Then we should. We should. With leads.
The '96 was when that was made, and just a lot of my family.
Great.
When he was still at the old coffee shop, we made this. This is called the Aroma of Cappuccino, and it was made. Go down there and read that number off on that bottom plate. Then when I walk from one end to the other, I can't. But it's 7796, and I think that's a real good correlation between the two of them. 7796 is what I got. The bottom one. $331.96. See, so that's almost 3 months difference between the Apology. And this came out very shortly after that, and then he said he wouldn't. I don't think he really accepted it
Because
he
he
couldn't
wanted
get. He
the
wanted that.
skeleton and didn't
We
get
tried-
it, and then
yeah.
this was your substitute, so
Yeah.
you're a good friend.
And the people that were a part of the Great Bend Mural Society were also there at that time. And he said, oh, he's made an apology. And I said, yeah. I said, I did. I don't think he's accepted it yet. And let's see. Yeah, it's up here. So he decided that we should build something for the coffee shop. Because during this time, we was changing from one shop to another one. Like going from one coffee shop to the new one. And
So he needed kind of a grand opening.
yeah, deal. And I said, okay, I'll see what I can do. So on about, we decided to go, listen to this, this is 8/4/96, so that's 1 month later. So approximately 1 month later, we started this machine. And it was completed Friday the 13th of 6/13/97. That's when it was completed. Our first parade was Labor Day, 2nd of 97. 9/2/97. But that's what started this thing. And this is a monstrosity. This thing.
Hey, is that an old drive-in?
Yeah, those drive-in
my
speakers.
gosh.
I got that from a girl named Delma Small, and she said I could have it. And I said, okay, it's going on my espresso machine. Actually, it's called the Supersonic Espresso machine. But anyway,
I stand corrected. I didn't have that right in the newsletter.
that's
We will
okay.
get that right.
I got it.
Then
Wait till you get done, you'll
when
really
we
be lost.
advertise you again, I will get it right. You're
That's with
coming
an
up
apology,
for the
with a formal apology, you know. It's like it's really hurt my feelings.
full. Culture's coffee.
Yeah, see, that's part of the insult. That's part of the insult. See,
Because his, of course,
okay.
is upper class.
This.
All right,
this
let's explain this
thing. it's almost a year to get it from the time it started to the time it was completed. But during this time, we was riding around in parades because we couldn't hardly wait. It's all right here. It's all right here on the little plate. And we're going to put a plate on here when we get done with Lucas down here. With the underneath. But the turn the wheel. That grinds the coffee. Okay, right in there. Okay. Now I don't want to get personal. But anyway, this goes down into the espresso. See, this makes the espresso. Okay, now put your legs back up. This goes down into the espresso, and see, you throttle this out, like get your right blend. And over on the other side has got another level up at the top, about the right same height. Yeah. It runs the carburetors for the flow. Okay. The reel brings in the air and the bugs. See? And it blows them into this here, into these big valves. See, into these big valves, and it powers this thing. And then this here, this is the inside of a coffee pot. This is the inside, not the outside, but the inside. This is one of them big business type coffee pots. And I was looking for that, and they threw it away, and I said, okay, well, the only thing I need is a pump. Well, in the bottom of the coffee shop down there, they wanted to make some kind of a business out of it downstairs, and in there was about 2 tons of sewing machines. And I said, well, he said, you can have all of them if you clean it out. And what you get for it is what you'll get. And I said, okay. So I said, when I walked up here to that thing, it was about my height and about 12 foot around was nothing but sewing machines.
These are like treadles?
Yeah, just junk. Junk. Springer and Singer and all kinds of sewing machines that was thrown down in this basement for years. And they said, you haul them out and you can have them. And I said, okay. So I walked up to that pile and I said, somewhere down there in the bottom of that is going to be my sewing machine pump. So this is the sewing machine pump. And I had a really tough time getting that to mount up to this thing. It just wasn't, it was like a crossroads. But anyway, this is air over hydraulics. See? And that steers the steering here. See, there's my air compressor. There's where my air compressor, I knew I had one on there, but there's my air compressor. And that is a real air compressor. It's really phenomenal how much air that thing will put out. It's got gears and everything. I got gears and stuff, and I think I made something out of the gears out of it. But anyway, that controls the steering. Keeps this thing on the road. Because when you get somebody sitting in the back here and somebody up there on top driving at about 150 miles an hour down the road with that reel going around and around and around, you got to keep it. You got to keep it. We had lights hooked up to it. We might have the lights hooked up to it when we bring it back. We had a battery on it. I think one of the battery deals jumped off of it or something. That's basically about it.
And then this is your final product?
Huh?
Is that your cup? I mean, where the final cup?
No, yeah, it's an offering. See, he's offering it up. It's still appeasement.
That's true.
It's kind of an appeasement, you know, because he's offering this thing up to this guy, but and what was really a kicker, when we would go by at these parades, my wife would put him out there. Come on, Greg, come on out here. Look at these guys come by. He would come out there like that. He was never a real happy camper, and we really.
Oh, but gee, what a tribute.
Yeah.
This is like a trophy, isn't it?
And you know what took its place? That's a real slammer. They shoved a cotton picking piano in my bug sucker's place.
No fun whatsoever. No.
They had the guy that owned the bug sucker wall, I had sold it for about a year. And when the mosh pit closed, this guy bought it right away and got it out of my yard. and he decided that it should have all these flags up there. Well, they were pretty worn and tattered, and he had them here in the deal, and the reason why that was because it was the only place he could put it. So I decided to put the flagpole up and make them a little bit higher. That way, when we ride this thing, see if we have a problem with the flags down in this guy's face, and they'll turn around like that. It's kind of a tribute, and the reason why I did that is because we're still supporting our folks in Kosovo. But anyway.
Stay right there. Let me get you up by the flag there. Yeah, work right around there.
That's my daughter, Vanessa.
Good. I'll get both of you in here. Cool. Let me get all the flags and everybody.
Okay.
Looking good.
Okay. Cool.
Looking good.
But that's a real tribute. See, when we went to Lucas, Kansas down there, we added the. What?
Yes, I'm recording.
Are you really? Okay. It's a real toss-up to see which one is the earliest ones, because none of them have been dated, and I don't have no clue who's what. But I do know that the double-headed sickle people are real early. Anything that's got a single head on it is 87 or so. The reason why the double head is because one's for the man and one's for the spirit. Every piece that I put on there, I thought it should be a part of a man and part of a spirit. The big wide tongue was to show their imagination. And this was my sister's, and she believed that she was going to get a Porsche or one of them Corvettes or something like that. And I said, well, to accomplish her wish, I will build that for her and give it to her. And she had a real big imagination. This is my daughter's. She came out with that story about the good luck dog. Oh, golly, I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, I believe that she believed in frogs. She could also ride that frog. So she is riding a frog. If that's what she wants to do, she can do it. This bike over here is about the earliest I got. And the reason why I know is because I made the heads on them. All the heads that were real early, I made these just like that. They were all made the same way, and I welded them on there completely, and most generally I welded this all the way around the outside of it. See, there's no transmission, no real operating parts or anything on it, nothing. And real early ones, the division of the gas tank was right there. And I believe they run down the side. See, you know, like this one here, this come quite a bit later. But it has going right down the center. And that's that's the way they are now. I've studied them out and found out I've been doing them wrong for a long period of time. And I took them to a good friend of mine. His name was Louis. And he owned a motorcycle shop. And I showed them to him, and he said, Bob, he said, you ought to start looking at magazines and stuff. They've got a lot of good pictures in there. But boy, for a manic depressant to try to figure stuff out and put it into something like this is unbelievable, because I had to get my mind completely changed and all that good stuff. So as I went along down through here, it got gradually better. This, I don't think you'll be able to see it, but anyway, right on the side of that is a fuel valve, and it says Ford. And when I found that, I said, I want to make something special out of it. Can you see it? I don't think you can, but anyway.
Yeah, we see it. Yeah,
but anyway, it's a Ford fuel valve. Came off a gas tank off an old Ford, Model A Ford or something, and I turned it into a steam-powered car for my son. And this
Which
is
son?
Chris.
Okay.
And these are manure spreader wheels, and the rest of this is just something I've all added to it. This is a sausage nozzle, and this C is a single-headed character, so he had to come out somewhere in the 87s, or maybe just about 86 or 85, somewhere in that area. and he it's going so fast that he's vibrating himself off the little car. See it? See where his feet are coming off the car? Little thingamajigger. And all these are. This is really important. This one's a really cool one because we had a house fire down at the house, and my brother and sister-in-law, Larry and Carolyn Mix, came down to the house, and this used to have a mop on it, kind of like a broom, but the broom's long gone. But it's a broom and a mop, and they come down to help clean the house up. And this was made in 1/11 of '88. Our house fire was in November of '87. So these are all basic characters, though. These guys, they're all about the same thing. My sister, Tanya Mix, my brother's daughter, was a police officer at one time, and I made that one for her. This one's a girl that primps her hair all the time, and I don't even think that's been dated. I don't really know why, but it's a single-headed character. I just must have forgot or something, so I don't really know the actual date. We used to take a hole punch, or the hole inserts that you tape on the page, and then punch a hole in it, and lay that out, and then draw the circle around it, and the color the eyes in. That's how we did that kind of thing. So all of them, they're like that. That's how we did it. This is my brother Larry. He is a metal detector, and he can't believe what he's hearing, so he's banging on the side of his head to see if it's really doing what he says it's doing. And it's 8/3 of '87. So if you figure August is what? November is January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. 11, and that's I'm not a mathematician.
And August to November.
Yeah.
3 months.
3 months before my breakdown. 3 months before my house fire. 87. So that's what's really important about this stuff. Take my inventory and I'll find out when. This is 8/20 of '87. 8/20 is what, August?
Yeah.
So that's my dad.
Tell why that is.
Well, when he was a little kid, he used to go out and trap. And this is the trap. I made the trap myself. See? Little trap. And he'd go out and stake out traps. And he had a little wagon here. Made it kind of an old style wagon. And he'd put his traps and his furs and stuff in the wagon coming home. This also is a sausage funnel. But see, that's 8/20 of '87. They've already changed to, this is the way we was painting them, so. Pretty wild. And that takes care of this table.
All right. The train.
Oh my God, no. Forgot the train.
Don't forget that train.
Yeah, keep me on with it. I don't remember what year this is.
Did you tell us about the police thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It went by pretty quick. 5/30 of '92. This, my dad, I tried to sell this several times and nobody seemed to want it. And I really don't know why, but they couldn't afford it, didn't like what it was, or wasn't involved with it or whatever, and it didn't really matter, but I made it and I dedicated it to my dad. And then I decided that maybe my dad wants it, so I went ahead and sold it to him. These are also sausage funnels. I got them from the packing house down there. They discarded them, and I took them and turned them over on its top. They looked like this, and I cut it in two like that, and then turned this over and made a funnel out of it. This is a valve off of a lawnmower or something, and sucker rod. One of the parts of the sucker rod where it bells back out. Cut it all apart and made a bell out of it. This is ball bearing. This is what I call a crazy wheel. This cylinder in the center is a exhaust pipe. I had that belled out, and I was going to take it down there and show it to them guys, and I never did. I kind of lied to them. But this crazy wheel, I'm not real sure where it actually come from, but it doesn't really matter. But it comes off of a creeper or a dolly little cart that people ride around on. And the wheel fell off, and I made use out of it. Ball bearings and and made a whistle out of it. Even cut the slot in it so that it make it look like a whistle. This is just foam.
Oh,
Took
it
me a long time
is.
to figure out how I was going to make that,
That's great.
and we just blowed it off with air and made it kind of rough, and made a little we make it look like coal.
Okay, tell me how.
WRR is Western Railroad.
Okay. How do you get? How
The
do you
idea?
just? Yes. Tell me about that.
Well, let's go to a piece and I'll show you.
Okay.
We'll go to another table.
All right.
Well, let's see. This one here, I didn't talk about this. This is a really cool dude. You ready?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm ready. How do you get your inspiration then and carry it through?
Okay. This guy, we were sitting out there. The coffee shop used to have a lot of benches out in front of it. There was one. And we took chairs out there and sat around out there at the coffee shop. Well, this guy has been a real inspiration to me through recovery and stuff. And he was a counselor at some of the recovery centers. And he carried it on into some of the buildings and stuff that we visit sometimes. But anyway, he rides a motorcycle. And this guy that was living with him, I think we'll just say his name was Fred. I'm not real sure that that's right. But anyway, Fred was pretty close. And he come to me and he says, "Do you think you could make for a bike for Ross Fabian?" And I said, "Yeah, I can do that." And I said, "I've been wanting to do that anyway." And he said, "Well, can you make a wild bike?" And I said, "Okay, I'll make a wild bike." And so that's how this came about. It's a really wild bike. It's got a supercharger on it. It's got two blowers. It's got a big blower on the side, and it's run by a belt. It goes down underneath here in the transmission and all that stuff. I'm not real sure if it's a belt drive. I think it's a drive line. That's what I think it was a drive line. And these are springs off of a punch out there at the shop. Punches, and when it raises up, the springs help to push it off the material. And it's 2-cylinder. It's the gas tank come from it's something they threw away out there, and they said, "Well, if anybody knows what it is, it's got to be Bob." So I went over there and I looked at it and I said, "Well, that's a fuel tank for a motorcycle," and they just gave it to me. And well, you're the only one who knew what it was. And I said, "Okay." It's got dual brakes to help slow it down. The hairdo it looks like a rooster, but his hair is like mine. He's got a high forehead, and he parts it, and when it goes up like that and then back like that. And when he's riding the bike, it's really distinguished. And when he sits and talks to him, if he gets real serious about what he does, he raises this one eyelid up. I can't do it, but he does. And that's how come that comes about. And I was walking around looking for that, and that there comes from a ratchet handle on a great big, like about a 3/4 inch ratchet. And it was broken. He left the handle of this piece here stick on the saw, and I kept walking by. And I said, "Well, I want that." And the old boy said, "Well, why don't you take that with you, Bob? He's been looking for you to get that for a long time." And I said, "Okay." And he put that then on his mailbox. The guy that donated it to him disappeared in the world again, and nobody knows where he's at. Like he went to Wichita or something like this, and then he just, like the earth has swallowed him up again. But just before he left, he stole Ross's pickup and went to Wichita and left it up there somewhere. And when Ross came back with a full tank of gas and stuff in the Ellenwood, Kansas down there, the cops pulled him over and tried to arrest him for having his own pickup. So the story of this guy is never going to end.
Saga continues. Continue.
But this was made
that's great.
This was pretty early too. It's 11/24 of '94. 11/24.
Yeah. That's quite a while.
He needs to repaint.
Okay, now.
Okay, this here. If you remember that motorcycle over there, this one here is the first one that I felt was a proper Harley Davidson. But there's a lot of things that's not right on it. I don't remember what they were, but this guy really laid it into me. He said, "No," he said, "this ain't right, and that ain't right, and this ain't right, and the transmission ain't connected here, and you know, different stuff. But this was the closest I'd gotten, and this was 127 of 88. Okay, that there is I'm trying to figure again. August, September, October, November, December, January. 6 months after my mental breakdown. 127.88. Okay? This one and this one here is the last one that I've made as far as a motorcycle. And if you can see the two differences, I don't know if I can show it to you. Let's see if I can show it to you. But that's the last, that's the first, and this is the last. Isn't that cool? This got everything that's same thing on it, all except there's just a lot more detail.
Yeah, we're really refining it here.
Yeah.
You got saddlebags and
All kinds of stuff that's not on the other one.
Okay, what do you start in with first? When you're going
When
to
you're
make
building one?
something? Yeah. What?
Well, most generally I start with the back end. You take the back end, you attach it to the rear end, and then you just start with this frame right here. And come up. And I leave this sticking out however it's supposed to be, however long it is, and then just bring it up. Bring it up from the bottom, and off the bottom here and off the side, however you want to say it, and then just come up and build your motor. Set your motor in, and this gauges how high this is supposed to be, and then this runs right straight up through the frame. And when you get your gas tank on there and your yoke, you bring in all this, and then whatever the features, detailing it takes as much time, if not more, than to actually build a motor and the frame, because there's so much to it. And everything I make, it has to be hand built, or like this stuff. There's all kinds of pieces just in this darn bag. You know?
Wonderful.
And see, they're still pretty simple here, and this is in 87. See, there's nothing there. It's just pretty darn simple. This is I tried to build a kickstand for it too, but see, that was probably the first one I made with a kickstand. Then let's see. These two here are owned by the same guy. This is my boss's. This one here is for sale, and that's my dad's. This one here is my brother Larry's. This is this one here I tried really hard to do, but it's just a wild bike. A couple of them ride the motorbikes cross country and all that stuff, and they do jumps and stuff. That's what that's all about. That's my son's. This is my dad's. I was supposed to have another one here, but it didn't show up. And this here's a guy by the name of Virgil, and I made him. This is a real tough one to read, because if you read it wrong, it'll read 317.95, but it's really supposed to be 317.95. So if you read it real fast, you really could have an antique right there. This one here is really cool. It's the only one I've made like this, and this I about went bananas on, because there's so much detail to it, and it's got 4 cylinders and 4 exhaust systems, and I really don't know all the technical stuff to it, but there's a lot of material there, and I tried to make it as much as what I seen. That's what I in the picture. That's what I put on here. And most generally, see, a bicycle's really tough to make, because there's 2 sides to it. And making a Harley Davidson and stuff like that there, the chain is on one side, and if you got the bike turned around and going the opposite direction, you'll put the chain on the wrong side, and it'll be some other. I always do have that problem. And same way with the exhaust pipes. the exhaust pipes always come out on the one side, see? But if you got your bike going the other direction and you turn around, you put your exhaust pipes over here, you're on the wrong side. It's turned around. That's what makes these things here so much easier, because there's only one side to most of it. You know. Well, let's see what else we got here. I don't know if I can bring this stuff out. Hello, young man.
I didn't know I had your picture.
Huh?
I didn't know that was your picture.
Yeah. How'd you know that was me? See? He's the owner of that tractor and trailer over there.
Oh,
And this bug.
fantastic.
I don't know if we can pick all that stuff up or not.
Sure. Let's just make a little more space for it here.
How are you, Gene? This is Roslyn and my friend Steve. He's the owner
Hi,
of the
Gene.
tractor and trailer and stuff over
So are
there.
you a semi? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
He's a real driver.
He's a real driver. That's wonderful. Just can't imagine. I'll tell you.
I wondered if you was going to make it down here or not.
Nope.
He's here.
Yeah. Well, I'll just continue because I know these. This one here is called is a dragon. See the tail? It's a dragon. It's supposed to be a dragon. And this girl really likes dragons. There was another one, a couple of these, like this one is called Evil. And if you'll notice that the one down there at the Grassroots Art Center, it's got horns on it. Well, there's a lot of, they're almost the same thing, but they're horns. And the devil is in them. And this guy here, even though he's got so much devil, there is some good behavior in him, because he's got thumbs up like the astronauts did when they landed on the moon. This guy here's came out about Halloween, I think is what it was. 9/30/94 is about Halloween. And it's called A Bag of Tricks. I went into a depression that built that darn thing, and it really came out really cool. I've never been able to capture that form of character in it again. I don't know if that'll come out or not. They got ball bearings and flat metal, and the only thing really cool about it this here, there's very few of these that I got from a friend of mine. His name was Gene too, and he worked at Fuller Brush, and I don't know what these were. They make them or something, but anyway, they threw a whole bunch of these away, and this is one of the bases I made out of it. It has all kinds of screw ports in it, all the way around it, screw ports. And let's see, I don't have any. Oh, this one here. This one was Evil. The guy in like Moses. You remember Moses?
Sure.
Like the staff and the snake. Well, that guy, one guy turned that staff into a snake, and that's what he kind of reminded me of. Like he's throwing his cape up over his face, and he's still going like that. And that's the Supersonic Espresso Powered Bug Sucker. Has a lot of bugs involved in it. Well, this is one of the bugs that was going to ride in the Supersonic Espresso Powered Bug Sucker this year, but it's not going to make it. My friend over here seen it and bought it about as fast as I he said, "Oh, I'll give you so much for it." And I said, "Okay, it's yours." All my grandkids have bugs that ride on the Supersonic Espresso Powered Bug Sucker, and but this was one of them that is not going to do it, because I probably won't do it since it's owned by somebody else.
I'd rent it to you.
Yeah,
Hey, say, take him up on that for the day. That'd be great.
I got tired of building bikes, these real fancy ones, and I decided to start doing something really wild and nobody see. Still had the Harley Davidson engine in it, but this was probably the first one. This one was the next one, and it had my own gas tank on it and all that stuff. Just somebody riding it. But my son has it. I thought he had the Gray Ghost. He evidently got rid of that, huh?
The Gray Ghost?
Yeah, motorcycle.
It's over there.
Well, this one here's another one. These gears were really special. There was two of them, and I never found anything like it since. I found them on a machine that in a. I see this turning here. See, you got to turn. But these gears, there was two of them. I made this one and one other one, and that other guy by the name of Gene got it. But that gave me that stuff from Fuller, and he's in up by Garden City somewhere. But that's my own design of motor too. 3 cylinders. See, it's 1, 2, 3 cylinder. It's pretty wild. Big old belt. Run it like a combine, you know. Big old combine belt, but it's made out of steel. This is just another bike. There wasn't anything special about it. The only thing I don't know really what I did wrong with it, but it just don't look like a bike, you know? I don't know what it looks like. And I was real disappointed with it, and I tried to sell it, and I couldn't sell it, so I just gave it to my son. Which that was Sean, and he's had it ever since. I don't even see the date on it. Yeah, there it is back here. 6/16/90. 9 years ago. Pretty wild. And that ends this table. We made it in a week cut. We had it twice over there. Yeah, Walt, how much oil you got in there?
It's got an oil stick in this, Steve.
Are we on the air?
You sure are.
All right. You wanna stand in the shade?
Let him up.
This song.
Well, how about you stand in it?
No,
Steve, you
it
want to
doesn't
drink
bother
a water first?
The oldest unique pieces I've got on the table. These two here. This one here, we seen it on a show called, well, I don't remember the show, but anyway, this is 6/9/90. And this is supposed to be a kitten grab. But it's my version of it. The parts are all what I already know, the Harley Davis, and it has a machine gun on it, and it has a track that actually works, and I couldn't get it back. I really put a lot of effort into it, see, and they wouldn't give it back to me, and I said, okay, to heck with you, I'm going to go and build another one. Well, I went to the library, and they helped me out. They got me a book from another library. They just cross-referenced it, found this book on kitten grads, and sent me this whole book on this stuff. And so I leafed through it, and we just started building. And I've got pictures down at the Grassroots Art Center down there that shows how we built this thing and put it all together. It has a Kenmore dryer wheel in the front, manure spreader wheels for track, and I thought that was really cool, manure spreader wheels, you know.
Let's stop, Bob.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, we came up with this kitten grad after we went to the library and stuff. Like I say, the manure spreader wheels was very appropriate, I thought, for the setting of who owned for Hitler and all that. But I think he did send a lot of propaganda out and all that. But that's neither here nor there. We tried to get it as close as we could to what it was, and it really, if I had the picture here to show you what it was, the duplicate, it would really be amazing. The mud flaps work on it. The interior is almost like it was when it was made. It had a really in-depth bunch of stuff on it, and I took it as far as I could. And this was made 7/2/98. Okay.
Okay.
The bulldozer.
Alright.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
This is the first bulldozer we made, and it was made in 3/22/97. And there's nothing particular good about it other than the fact it was just the first one we made, and it actually rolls. And the guy bought it and liked it so much he wanted another one, but I never made him another one because I thought he was just joking me. This is the third bulldozer we made, and from the first one to the third one is 4/16 of 2000. And when Gene Holloway is the guy that was just here, he owns it, and he wanted me to build a trailer and a tractor that goes with it, which was a 4300 International. And some of you out there might be able to recognize it. It has flip-up landing legs on it, or track legs on it. Dryer wheels. Once again, this is another. I got this one here first, and then these all come in later on. It was just like another, like this was what I'm going to be making it out of, and now I have all these to deal with, and I have a guy that's got all of them. Okay. And this is really cool because there's 3 separate pieces, and we threw this in as a gift, and this was finished 4.
You want to hold it up?
24 of 2000, and that's a signature.